All right. Hello, everybody. We are here with Scott Stripling. And if the name sounds familiar, it's because we have been talking about Scott and this discovery at Mount Ebal quite a bit over the past couple of weeks. We're just about 10 days removed from the announcement, and the announcement has just gotten a lot of traction and a lot of excitement. So we jumped back on with Scott, and we're going to actually take some time to ask him some of the questions we've been getting from our audience about the curse tablet, about Mount Ebal, and go from there. So, Scott, thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, happy to be with you guys.
I guess just to kind of start, tell us, you've been traveling some since the announcement. What has the reaction that you've seen been to what you guys announced just about 2 weeks ago?
It's been overwhelming, I'll have to tell you. Overwhelmingly positive, really. But even you expect people to respond in different ways, and you appreciate some healthy skepticism. I certainly do as an academic myself, but really overall extremely positive, because I think everyone is trying to grapple with the ramifications of this. Is it too good to be true? And that's one of the first things that I had to grapple with myself was, oh my goodness, we have a curse tablet from Mount Ebal. Will we be able to get text off of it? We'll see. But even if we don't, it's huge. And then when we did start getting text, and we had an aleph, and I thought, well, the Hebrew word curse, arur, begins with an aleph. What if it's the word arur, and then we got a resh next to it? And I thought, this is just mind-boggling. And then not only did we have one arur, but we had 10 of them, in this curse inscription on the inside of the tablet. So I'd have to say that it's been huge. The Babylon Bee, the Drudge Report, and everything in between. It's been huge. Tomorrow I'm flying to New York to do the Eric Metaxas show, and there's a lot of interest.
So you're seeing some, I guess, mainstream media that are picking up this announcement.
Yeah, Fox, local Fox came out yesterday, and like I said, there's just every media source that you could imagine is interested in it, and I think that's a good thing, because I like the topic of discussion. We are engaging in a topic: is the Bible a reliable historical source? And from my perspective, that's a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's what we've seen on this YouTube video. We posted within about 2 hours of the press conference, and really it was to tease tease you all. We planned to release the full press conference later on, but it has generated some incredible discussion, and I'm sure you've experienced this from both extreme sides of this. Right. There are those that are willing to accept it as absolute valid fact because two dudes got up and talked about it on YouTube. And I would strongly discourage that.
Sure.
What we do want to encourage...
In today's world, that's popularity. Yeah.
Right.
Well, that's right. I saw it on the internet, so it must
That's
be
right.
true.
Exactly.
What we want instead is, and I know you would agree with this, is critical thinking and research evidence-driven conclusions. And so I've been hard pressed to give responses on our YouTube video, and haven't attempted it much, other than to say, this is the information they've released thus far. Definitely check out the Associates for Biblical Research website and their press release. If it's okay, can I throw a few of these commonly asked questions to you, and maybe help give a more official answer?
Sure, yeah.
Than some filmmaker in Indiana.
Happy to do it.
So we talk about this tablet, and I know in our day and age we think tablet, well, it's the latest and greatest iPad, 15, 16 inches across. No, we're talking a 2 by 2 centimeter tablet, right? So that when opened up, we're talking about 2 by 4. One of the questions that I've received several times now is, how could you get so many characters and words on something so small?
Okay, so that's a good question. The letters are small. There was a stylus, and I'll give you some breaking news if you'd like that, or if you don't want me to give you that, I won't give you that.
No, by all means.
Last week I went back through the Mount Ebal objects just to double check, what else we had, anything that might shed light on this. And it appears that we have the stylus that wrote it.
Wow.
The pen that wrote it. So was there literacy? Not only do we have a, a tablet with writing, but we have the pen apparently too. It had a fine point on it. And so in a malleable metal like lead, they're able to write these small letters, these small characters on there. It becomes binding when you write it. This is why God tells Moses, he tells Joshua, write these things down. It becomes binding, it is enacted. And then when it's sealed like this, then it's sealed forever. We can't even open it. It's only in modern times that we have technology that can do that. So it becomes a binding, legal, covenantal document.
So when you translated this, and this is a common misunderstanding to I would say the unlearned, is they're reading what you all have provided, which is the English translation,
right,
of these Hebrew inscriptions. And so there's been quite a bit of debate over you've used the wrong letters, you've used the wrong English letters. Yahweh was pronounced this and that. So we're not talking about 40 complete words necessarily, but you're talking about 40 characters that then represent words on the tablet.
Right. There's if I said 40 words, I misspoke. There's 40 letters.
No.
Yeah,
yes.
23 words that we're translating out of these 40 letters. And remember, we're not dealing with the Paleo-Hebrew script, which is the ancient script. We're dealing with something older than that. And so if someone might be thinking, well, grammatically, what about this? You must have this tense or whatever. That's not necessarily the case, because you're dealing with a proto-alphabetic or a proto-Hebraic script. I have a master's degree in English apart from my other stuff and training. So, I've done some study in Old English, for example, and it would be unintelligible to the average English speaker today. There's different grammatical reasons, and there are experts in it that, could tell you things, but I just use that analogy to say that you can't necessarily apply across the board Hebrew grammatical constructions from Paleo-Hebrew to Proto-alphabetic Hebrew.
Gotcha.
So somebody's kind of struggling, like even the number of characters. Somebody asked me, well, if you add them up, it seems like there's 48, and shouldn't it be 40? Well, somebody's thinking in Paleo-Hebrew, which is good, but this is not Paleo-Hebrew.
So that kind of leads to another question, and you mentioned that this is an older script. We've been hearing from people who've said, well, because this was found in a dump pile and not actually in the layers, how are you certain that this is as old, or dating it to the period that you're dating it?
It's a great question. Okay, Adam's Zedekiah had two strata, and it can't be from anything except the altar. This is in the middle of nowhere, okay? There's nothing around here. And you have this structure, which he thought was an altar. I agree with the earlier rounder altar venerated at its center. Then you've got three dump piles, one in the east, one in the west, and then one in the center. He dumped, according to his notes, the material from the altar in the east dump. That's where we recovered this tablet from. So within that structure, he only had two strata. He had a late Bronze Age 2 stratum and an Iron Age 1 stratum. Those are your only two choices. So yes, it does come from a dump, and it would be more complicated if we had 7 or 8 strata, but we're only dealing with either it's 14th, 13th, or 12th century BC. Whatever, those are your three choices, and they're all three much older than any existing Hebrew text that we have.
I'm so glad we talked to Scott, because I did not have that kind of answer trying to understand. People have been asking, well, okay, maybe the altar was this age, but what's to stop us from assuming that someone just came hundreds of years later and dropped this?
Let me address that, Craig, because it's not that would have been entirely impossible. That was my first thought, quite frankly, because when I saw the tablet on day one, my first thought was that it was typical of what I have personally seen from the late Hellenistic and early Roman period, okay, when these tablets are better known. And so I remember telling our guys right off the bat, when I was telling them it's a curse tablet, I said, but It could very well be from the early Roman period or late Second Temple period or New Testament period, whatever you want to call it. It could be from that period, and maybe somebody came along and they knew it was Joshua's altar and they were wanting to, venerate that. That was my first thought. But of course, the problem is Adam Zertal published 97% Iron Age 1 pottery and 3% Late Bronze Age pottery. Zero, from an earlier period. Now, from our sifting of his dump pile, we found a tiny amount of early Roman pottery, 0.25%, 1/4% was early Roman, So is it possible that someone came along? Yes. This is why I, of all people, was shocked when we saw the script, So I would not have been at all surprised if it was a late Second Temple period script. But when we saw an ox head that was being used as an aleph, and then a resh, and then a mem it was just, if you know that script, there's no doubt it would be like the difference between Old English and Modern English.
Gotcha. So for the layman, no one during that Roman period would still be writing with this type of lettering.
Does anyone today still know Old English?
Correct.
Probably,
yeah, right.
Okay.
I mean, probably, but now we're stretching the realm of reason here, right? I mean,
right.
What I have said and what I'm going to continue to say as we grow up, we've been studying this text for a long time now, looking at these scans, and it seems to me that the weight of evidence suggests this is what it's saying. Now, when we release all the scans, and it's going to be a very large article, by the way, we never dreamed we'd have this many letters, and we have to study each letter and publish it with parallels. It's going to be a long article. Then I think different scholars may read it differently. I'm sure different scholars will read it differently. And all we're doing is the best we can do to grapple with that text and to say, this is what we think it is. No scholar is going to be able to come along, even though Israel Finkelstein said in an interview a couple of days ago, I saw that, from Zertal's context, it much better fits the 11th century than blah, blah, blah. 11th century, where in the world is he getting this? I mean, nobody thinks that. But of course, Finkelstein's whole career, he's tried to downdate everything by a century. So outside of some huge outlier like that, everyone, even the most critical, will have to agree that it's a late Bronze Age 2 script. The reading of that script, some different people may read it different ways. Okay.
Sure.
But at the very least, we have evidence of literacy on Mount Ebal where Joshua is told to write in a script that would have existed at the time of Joshua. And there probably will be difference of opinion of what it says. All we're trying to do is be intellectually honest and to grapple with the text as we see it. And when other scholars get a hold of it, they're going to have to just be careful before they respond, because it took us time to get used to reading scans and seeing those and acclimating to that. We're pretty good at it now, but
sure.
Yeah.
One more question, and this has been a common one, is we understand you guys did this press conference, but the information and the evidence is still currently being peer reviewed. When can people expect to actually see the scans? You all shared with us a couple of the characters and the translation, but people are asking when they can expect to actually see the scans for themselves.
Yeah, those are good questions. I know everyone's eager to see them. We're eager to release them. I hope that by May 12th, when I leave for Israel, that this is off my plate and it's to the publisher, so I can focus on the dig. Hopefully that will be the case. We're working on it. And my colleagues in the collaboration, these are university professors with other responsibilities, and they have neglected everything else in their lives, I mean, right now there's a meeting going on that I'm supposed to be a part of that involves 3 continents, discussing and collaborating. And so, I mean, my team is just working tirelessly on this to get it out. Then once we submit it, it will have to go through the peer review process. That can take 1 month to 3 months or, 4 months. It just depends. These guys tend to be slow in doing this, hopefully because of the importance of it. They're going to review it more quickly, more expeditiously. And then it will have to actually be published. Like, what is the next date that they're publishing a an issue, of that particular journal. So again, I hope by the end of the summer, certainly no later than the fall, that we will have everything. And once we publish it, we'll release everything. And anything that's not in the article, we'll provide a link where people can go and access it.
Excellent.
And you were very confident at the press conference. And do you continue to be as confident even after hearing some of the pushback from some of these other voices now that you've released this information?
Absolutely. And really, you're hearing, and it's not like there's a big amount of opposition or whatever. Of course, we're divided into camps. You might imagine 1/3 is sort of leans left and 1/3 leans right and 1/3's in the middle and so forth. But, I'm getting contacted daily by scholars who agree, they're on board, they're supportive, but they tend not to be the ones that are getting, quoted out there. But, one notable one would be Christopher Rolston, who's a notable epigrapher, but he's also a notable ex-Christian, so he's got, anyway, just throw that out there. I reached out to Chris Rolston 6 months ago when I first had this, or 5 months ago, whatever it was, and sent him 2 different emails inviting him to see the scans and to be a part of the collaboration. He didn't respond to either one of my emails. And so, in his blog post that he wrote, that since he hasn't seen the scans, he can't comment. Well, he had a chance to see them, and now he'll just have to wait like everybody else.
Interesting. Well, as you alluded to, you're a busy man traveling all over the place, and you're going back to Israel in May. You're going to be digging at Shiloh, and it sounds like you've got a big season potentially with some big discoveries there.
Yeah, we're on the verge of great discoveries at Shiloh. It's going to be a tremendously exciting season. And anyone in your listening or viewing audience that is interested in coming, it's not too late. Just go to digshiloh.org.
Oh, and that is a common question as well.
Yeah.
People were asking us when we were going to go on our next archaeological thing. We said, no, Scott's the man.
Yep.
So you
said,
if
you got time, then you have street cred. Yeah, digshiloh.org.
That's right.
I'd like to give you some street cred if you'll just come dig with me. Then
there you go. We need to roll our sleeves up too, Craig, and dig. Well, Scott, we're so thankful that you took the time to sit down and just chat with us and answer some of these questions.
Well, I was happy to do it, and we'll stay in touch over the next few months.
All right. Thanks, Scott.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Have a good day.
Right. Bye-bye.